Good morning. This is Arlan Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX. It is October 1st, about a quarter till 9 in the morning, coming to you from the trading floor. And October 1st marks the beginning of the new fiscal year, and we're in a government shutdown, a partial government shutdown, we should say. All essential services will continue. That means any federal security forces, police forces, law enforcement action should continue to go on forward. We should also see payments for Social Security, Medicare, veterans benefits continue as well. Some nutrition programs could quickly run out of funding. That's a concern going forward. But overall, most shutdowns do not last very long at all. The longest of which in recent history was in December of 2018, when the government shut down for 35 days. Now, you're seeing a lot of gloom and doom stories in the media about how bad this is going to be for the economy. Don't be fooled by those. That 35-day shutdown in December of 2018, it stretched into January 2019, cost the economy, yes, $3 billion. That is 0.02% of GDP at the time. So that's a very small impact on the economy. Now, the broader markets, therefore, really don't care about these government shutdowns until they get long enough or significant enough that you have federal workers not spending money that starts to become a drag on the economy. And so we saw early signs of that in the 2018-19 shutdown, but nothing significant. So don't expect a big pull down in the markets just because of this. It's a little different story, though, from the standpoint that the markets are drifting a little bit in a fog. That's because many of the government reports that the markets depend on for data aren't released during the shutdown. Many of the workers have been sent home, have been furloughed if they're considered non-essential. Well, that varies by department of what's considered non-essential. USDA, for example, their recently released plan for a potential shutdown included 42,000 USDA workers who would be furloughed and sent home. That's a lot of workers. Included in that would be NASS surveyors who would be going out into the fields today in surveying fields, sampling fields, weighing samples of corn ears and soybean pods, etc., and determining yield for the October WASDE crop report. That's not happening today. Now, if in fact the shutdown only lasts a day or two, then we anticipate that everything will go on schedule as far as the WASDE report. But if it lasts several, 3, 4, 5 days, then we could see the report delayed, or if it goes longer than that, actually canceled. And that's what happened in October of 2013 when the October report was actually canceled. That's a critical time for the markets because we're counting on that data from USDA to really determine the size of the crops. Also, USDA needs to implement into its WASDE supply and demand balance sheets the surprises in yesterday's small grain summary report and quarterly stocks reports and put that into their balance sheets. That could have significant market implications. So until then, the market's only able to kind of guess how USDA may do that and lean on private estimates. Speaking of private estimates, StoneX will be releasing its customer survey results on the size of this year's corn and soybean crops this afternoon after the markets close. Other private sources will be doing so in the days to come. So that'll be what the market has to lean on if, in fact, we do not get government reports. Now, some government reports will still be coming out. For example, the Energy Information Administration has a note on their website that they're going to continue to release reports as long as they are able to do so. USDA has today's scheduled reports still on the calendar. They have no notice of cancellation. We just know in the past that hasn't happened. Also in the past, we know that USDA has not released export sales reports, and indeed the Foreign Ag Service is on the furlough list, and FGIS also, although inspections are still happening. And so we will see if we can pull the FGIS data as we normally do, and in the past have been able to do that to give some indication of actual export inspections going on, although USDA typically does not release their official USDA export inspections reports. And so as we go forward, we're going to be lacking a lot of information. The USDA flash sales reports uh, that we get on a daily basis of recently of big corn sales, for example. That allows a buyer to come in and buy up a lot of supplies and the market doesn't know it. So, kind of reminiscent of what we saw in the 1970s when we had the great grain robbery where Russia came in and bought up our supplies of wheat without us knowing it. That's what resulted in legislation requiring these daily flash reports and the weekly export sales reports and the weekly export inspections reports. Those simply aren't going to be available, aren't expected to be available. So we'll be flying there a little bit in the blind until we get those reports back and USDA catches us up on the data. Also, labor reports. Will we get a weekly jobless report on Thursday? Will we get the monthly jobs report on Friday that is scheduled? Right now, we're anticipating that we won't, but let's see what the Trump administration, if they consider that essential. So far, there's no word on their website on whether that will happen or not. So we go forward with a partial shutdown. Yesterday's surprise reports from USDA come in with a wheat crop that was 60 million bushels above what was anticipated, therefore giving us larger stocks than anticipated. And we saw the wheat market then go down to new lows in order to try to uncover enough demand to get rid of those extra bushels. We saw corn stocks for September 1, which become the beginning stocks of the new marketing year, which started on September 1st, coming in about 200 million, 195 million bushels larger than anticipated. USDA did increase the size of last year's corn crop by 25 million bushels, but in all likelihood, this surprise, when you look at the last several quarterly stocks reports put together, it would suggest, if anything, perhaps last year's crop may have been about 200 million bushels larger than what it reported. Maybe we should have had a larger adjustment to last year's crop, but USDA doesn't like to do that. So instead, the only thing it can do really is reduce feed and residual use. That means for the old crop year, lower feed use. Well, then how can you add several hundred million bushels of demand to the new marketing year in feed use when we're actually looking at smaller livestock numbers? And so that creates a problem for USDA on feed usage for the new marketing year. And I anticipate it's hoping that the corn yields are going to be coming down to give it the cover to lower the feed usage number as well going forward. Overall, we do anticipate that this corn crop is getting smaller. The question is by how much, and our customer survey later today should give some indication of that. Then you look at the soybean crop, yields are very impressive thus far. So there are some disappointing areas, certainly, but overall, I think most of the industry is surprised by how strong the soybean yields are. So we'll be real interested to see what are survey results. And don't read into that. I have not seen the data yet for this afternoon's crop survey, but just I'll be real interested and see those numbers here later today as well. So we'll be back with you as further developments occur. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to continue to get these updates from the trading.